Good evening. You're with us on DD India. Welcome to Express News, where we update you with the top 100 news from across the country and the world in a quick, succinct manner. I'm Tanvita Neja. Let us begin. Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurates 341-kilometre long PURVANCHAL Expressway in Uttar Pradesh. The expressway will connect Lucknow with Ghazipur via Azamgarh and Mau. The expressway begins from Chandsarai village in Lucknow and ends at Haidaria village, located on the National Highway 31 in Ghazipur, which is 18 kilometres from the UP-Bihar border. PM Modi inaugurates UP Chief Minister, PM Modi congratulates UP Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath and the people of the state for writing a new chapter of development through the Purvanchal Expressway. He said previous governments did not pay attention to UP's holistic development and that region of the state and its people were given away to mafia and poverty. The Purvanchal Expressway will reduce travel time between Lucknow to Ghazipur to 3.5 hours from 6 hours. It will have 7 major bridges, 7 railway overbridges, 114 minor bridges and 271 underpasses. The 6-lane expressway has the capacity to be expanded to 8 lanes in future. The 3.2-kilometre long airstrip on the expressway will enable landing and takeoff for IAF fighter planes in case of any emergency. The Prime Minister also witnesses a magnificent air show with Mirage 2000 and Sukhoi 30 Make-1 aircraft with multiple takeoffs and landings at the emergency airstrip. The Prime Minister said for the all-round development, the balanced development of the country is of paramount importance. He stressed that the country's security is as important as its prosperity. He added that the roar of these aircraft will also help the people who ignored the defence infrastructure of the nation for decades. Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath said that the new Purvanchal Expressway will boost development in the eastern region of the state, which earlier was deprived. First, AUDIT DIWAS being celebrated in the country to mark the historic origins of the institution of Comptroller and Auditor General of India, CAG. PM Modi unveils the statue of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel at the CAG office in Delhi. He said CAG is one of the very few institutions that has become stronger and more mature and more relevant with the passage of time. The Prime Minister highlighted the importance of CAG, saying it is an institution that has evolved with time and its timeless contribution has created a hallmark in Indian finance and governance. He underlined that the government is focused on monetizing unused and underused elements with assistance from CAG to boost the economy. Comptroller Auditor General GC MURMU said that in 2020-21, despite the difficulties of Corona, CAG submitted 123 audit reports, in which 67 were performance audits. MURMU added that it is necessary to choose proper distribution methods of resources to achieve the set goals. The government has decided to reopen Kartarpur Sahib corridor from tomorrow. The Union Home Minister, Mr. Amit Shah, said the decision reflects immense reverence of the Modi government towards Shri Guru Nanak Dev Ji and our Sikh community. The nation will celebrate Prakash Utsav of Shri Guru Nanak Dev Ji on November 19th. Border Roads Organization receives Guinness World Record certificate for constructing the world's highest motorable road at 19,024 feet at Umlingla Pass in Ladakh. DGBR Lieutenant General Rajiv Chaudhary received the Guinness World Record certificate for the achievement of BRO. The National Press Day being celebrated today. Union Minister for Information and Broadcasting Anurag Singh Thakur conveyed his best wishes. He said the government has focused on citizen-centric communication, be it TV news, radio, social media or online digital media. CBI conducts searches at around 76 locations across India in 14 states UTs. 23 separate cases registered on 14th November 2021 against total 83 accused on the allegations related to online child sexual abuse and exploitation. In Bihar's Lakhisarai, at least 6 people, including 2 women and 4 men, lost their lives and 4 critically injured in a major road accident. The truck driver is absconding. Investigation is underway. Delhi's air quality deteriorating again after showing marginal improvement yesterday. Central Pollution Control Board said that the overall AQI of Delhi reached 389 at 8 this morning, just about to get into the hazardous category at 400 level. Mumbai's air quality worsens too, recording an AQI of 280. The System of Air Quality and Weather Forecasting and Research puts the city's air quality in the poor category, going by the Central Pollution Control Board's classification. Yesterday, the AQI reading was 245, also in the poor category. Union Health Minister Mansukh Mandavia inaugurates Health Pavilion at Trade Fair Pragati Maidan in New Delhi, said he is running a cycle campaign in the country, adding that cycling will bring solution to pollution and a good way to stay healthy. Health Minister Dr. Mansukh Mandavia interacted with NGOs, civil society organizations and development partners. The minister said that the government seeks support of the organizations to take the GHAR DASTAK vaccination campaign across the length and breadth of the country. In West Bengal, schools reopened for classes 9th to 12th with COVID-19 measures in place. All arrangements in place for keeping the campuses clean and sanitized. The last time students attended classes physically was in March 2020. Assam achieved another milestone in vaccination, completed 1 crore second dose inoculation today, covering 50% of the total eligible for the second dose. Assam's total vaccination figure has crossed 3 crore 5 lakhs. 95% eligible population have been covered already for the first dose. On to business news now. The 30-share Sensex on Tuesday tumbled 396 points to end at 60,322. The 50-share Nifty fell by 110 points to close at 17,999. At the MCX, gold prices were up by 217 rupees to end at 49,515 rupees per 10 grams. Silver prices advanced by 356 rupees to end at 66,919 rupees per kilo. The Indian rupee gained 9 paise to close at 74 rupees 37 paise against the US dollar. Crude oil was trading 71 rupees or 1.19% higher to close at 6,034 rupees per barrel. The Reserve Bank of India has directed non-banking finance companies or NBFCs to appoint an internal ombudsman within 6 months. Deposit-taking NBFCs with more than 10 branches and non-deposit-taking NBFCs with an asset size of a minimum of 5,000 crore rupees have been asked to appoint an internal ombudsman within 6 months. It will be an apex of their internal grievance redressal mechanism. The RBI also said that all complaints that are partly or wholly rejected by the NBFC will be reviewed by the internal ombudsman before the final decision of the NBFC is conveyed to the complainant. The internal ombudsman will not entertain any complaints directly from members of the public. India's exports surged to 43% higher to $35.65 billion in October this year. Imports soared 62.51% in October to $55.37 billion. Consequently, the trade deficit widened to $19.73 billion during the month, according to data released by the Ministry of Commerce and Industry. Cumulatively, merchandise exports during the April to October 2021 quarter stood at $233.54 billion, an increase of 55.13% compared to the same period in 2020. Merchandise imports during the same period rose 78.16% to $331.39 billion. India continues to fight COVID-19 with the administration of 59,75,469 vaccine doses in the last 24 hours. India's COVID-19 vaccination coverage has now exceeded 112 crore 97 lakh as per reports till this morning. The recovery of 11,971 patients in the last 24 hours has increased the cumulative tally of recovered patients to 3 crore 38 lakh 61,756. Consequently, India's recovery rate stands at 98.27%. Less than 50,000 daily new cases are being reported for 142 consecutive days now. 8,865 new cases were reported in the last 24 hours. Active caseload is presently at 1,30,793, which is the lowest in 525 days. Active cases presently constitute 0.38% of the country's total positive cases, which is the lowest since March last year. Testing capacity across the country continues to be expanded. The last 24 hours saw a total of 11,07,617 tests being conducted. India has so far conducted over 62 crore 57 lakh COVID-19 cumulative tests. Weekly positivity rate at 0.97% remains less than 2% for the last 53 days now. The daily positivity rate reported to be 0.80%. The daily positivity rate has remained below 2% for the last 43 days and below 3% for 78 consecutive days now. World's COVID-19 cases have crossed 25 crore 47 lakh. So far, more than 23 crore 2 lakh people have recovered from the virus globally. Over 51 lakh 25,000 lives have been lost to the disease. The USA continues to remain the hardest hit nation from COVID-19 with maximum number of cases and maximum number of deaths. In the United States, over 4 crore 80 lakh cases of COVID-19 have been reported. The country's death toll from COVID-19 has surpassed 7 lakh 84,000. COVID-19 pandemic continues to batter Russia, with the country reporting the bulk of daily cases and deaths to the disease. Most of Russia's 80-plus regions lifted a week-long workplace shutdown that was designed to curb a surge in case numbers since last week. Russia has mandated a QR code on mobile phones of people visiting cafes, restaurants or shopping centers to prove that they have been vaccinated or who previously had the virus. As the number of COVID-19 cases and fatalities slump in Cuba, the country has eased restrictions 2 years after the start of the pandemic. Cuba has reopened schools and its borders to international tourism as part of the new set of reliefs. Travelers over 12 will only have to carry proof of vaccination or a recent PCR to enter the country. Cuba has vaccinated only 65% of its population yet. UK's Prime Minister Boris Johnson has called on the need to modulate the definition of fully vaccinated in a bid to include booster shots for COVID-19. The UK Prime Minister also hinted that the country may add booster dose to the NHS COVID travel pass, although he did not provide a time frame. Despite being cautious of the elevating cases and deaths from COVID-19, British Prime Minister Boris Johnson denied the reports to move to a plan B of mask mandates, vaccine passes and work from home orders. German Chancellor Angela Merkel said that the world needs to be better prepared to probe the origins of diseases. Austria enforced a lockdown for unvaccinated individuals to counter a surge in the number of COVID-19 cases. The country has deployed police to ensure strict adherence to the lockdown rules. Austria, the landlocked Central European country, has vaccinated only around 65% of its population so far. In Greece's capital, Athens, medics protested on Monday, demanding a pay hike and better working conditions as COVID-19 cases across the country soar, over flooding hospitals with COVID-19 patients. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson said on Monday that there is a choice coming soon on whether to mainline more Russian hydrocarbons or to back Ukraine, peace and stability amid rising tensions between Moscow and the West. 6 teenagers were wounded on Monday in a drive-by shooting near their high school in Aurora, Colorado. US President Joe Biden held a virtual summit with his Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping. The US opposes China's unilateral effort to change Taiwan. Xi said that the two sides must increase communication and cooperation to solve common challenges. Joe Biden signed a $1 trillion infrastructure bill on Monday at a ceremony that drew Democrats and some Republicans who were instrumental in getting the legislation passed. Ecuador's President Guillermo Lasso has appointed a new head of the Joint Command of the Armed Forces after the former chief resigned following a prison riot that left dozens of the inmates dead in the country. The United Nations has announced that it has allocated $25 million from the Central Emergency Response Fund for humanitarian assistance and protection of civilians in Ethiopia. A further $15 million has also been allocated from the Ethiopia Humanitarian Fund. Some soft stories coming now. The trio of little lionesses, Jamila, Kumani and Malaika, was presented to the public for the first time on Monday in the Gelsen Christian Zoo in Germany, around 5 weeks after their birth. And the little ones are doing very well, said zoo authorities. The triplets, whose names are all of African origin according to the zoo, saw the light of the day on October 8th. Their mother is Lioness FIONA. 2 years ago, she and her sister Lissy came to Gelsen Kitchen from the Swedish zoo in Kolmården. A Mark Rothko painting has been sold for $82.5 million at auction, the second highest price for a work by the late abstract artist. Titled Number 7, the 241-centimeter high canvas painted in 1951 in bands of green, crimson and lavender was expected to sell from $70 to $90 million at Sotheby's in New York. It was the first time the painting had come to the auction. The identity of the buyer was not known, but it provoked fierce phone bidding from people representing the Asian clients. Other works sold on Monday included the 1947 sculpture LIONESSES by Swiss artist Alberto Giacometti, the world's most expensive sculptor. It fetched $78.4 million on Monday, below the record $141.3 million for any sculpture that was set in 2015 for Giacometti's Homme au Doigt. Over 900 items from some of the world's biggest music stars are hitting the auction block in New York. Julien's Auction is hosting their annual Icons and Idols Rock and Roll auction live at the Hard Rock Cafe on November 19th-20th. The top lot is an Eric Clapton staged used guitar from the 1970s. Several items from the rock band Nirvana and lead Kurt Cobain are also included in the sale. Dresses worn by Amy Winehouse, Katy Perry and jewelry from Elvis Presley are also up for grabs. Sharpshooters gathered on the shores of Lake Lucerne this week to live out the Swiss tradition of marksmanship on the hallowed ground where the country was founded. The annual Ruetli shooting event was organized to mark the event. This year's competition drew more than 1,000 shooters from across Switzerland, cheered on by hundreds of guests. Informal shooting competitions began there around 1861, and an official club founded in 1874 still runs this contest. The contest had to be cancelled last year due to the pandemic. In South Korea, flocks of hooded cranes numbering over 1,000 used to create a spectacle at Haepyeong wetland every autumn. But not a single crane can be found there anymore. More than 2,000 hooded cranes visited the wetland back in 2014, but the number shrank to about 100 by 2019 and none were sighted last year. The sandy banks of Haepyeong wetland were flooded, forcing the birds on their way to Japan to divert to the west coast. Environmentalists say that in order to bring back these cranes, the sluice gates of the Chelgok Dam should be opened wide to create a huge sand bar. A floating teleworking office was set up for one day on Japan's largest lake in western prefecture of Shiga. The temporary office on Lake Biwa was organized by the Shiga Prefecture Industrial Support Center, which helps small businesses in the region. The event was a part of a trial to find new teleworking environments amid the coronavirus pandemic. The office was set up on a cargo barge measuring about 200 square meters, equipped with desks, chairs and free Wi-Fi. It also had a cafe that served coffee. About 10 self-employed people made advance applications to use the office. They checked documents and held business negotiations on board as a fresh breeze was blowing. On to sporting action now. India set to face the Kiwis again in the shortest format of the game in the series beginning in India tomorrow. First match, T20 match, is to be played in Jaipur. In a pre-match press conference, Indian captain Rohit Sharma said that the team is not just keeping an eye on one or two individuals. Whatever is required of us to be a successful team will be worked upon. India's new head coach Rahul Dravid spoke about maintaining the workload management of the team in these difficult times. ICC, International Cricket Council, has confirmed the 14 host countries of the men's white ball events from 2024 to 2031. So India will host or co-host 3 ICC men's global events in the 2024 to 2031 window, while Pakistan was decided as hosts of the 2025 Champions Trophy. In football, Harry Kane scored 4 goals as England thrashed San Marino 10-0 in the European World Cup qualifier to seal their ticket to Qatar next year. Northern Ireland produced their best performance of the qualifying campaign to earn a draw that denied Italy automatic World Cup qualification. Novak Djokovic received the year-end ATP Tour #1 ranking trophy for a record 7th time after starting his ATP Finals campaign in Turin with a win. Roger Federer is unlikely to play in the next year's Australian Open as he recovers from injury. Yan Yu Chao will become China's first full-time F1 driver when he makes his debut with Alfa Romeo alongside Valtteri Bottas in 2022. In entertainment news coming in, Rajkumar Rao and Bhumi Pendekar star Badai Do, a sequel of Badai Ho, has got a new release date. The film will hit theatres on February the 4th next year. Actors Rajkumar Rao and Patralekha tied the knot in an intimate wedding ceremony. Celebs and fans took to Twitter to congratulate the newlywed couple. Filmmaker Rohit Shetty's cop action drama film Suryavanshi, starring actors Akshay Kumar and Katrina Kaif, which opened in cinemas a day after Diwali, has crossed the 150 crore rupees mark in just 10 days. The makers of Drishyam 2 have released the much-awaited trailer of the sequel to the Telugu super hit Drishyam. The film stars Venkatesh Dagubate in the lead role. American singer-songwriter Taylor Swift has joined forces with actor-turned-director Blake Lively for a new music video named I Bet You Think About Me. British singer-songwriter Adele debuted 3 new songs, I Drink Wine, Hold On and Love Is a Game, from her upcoming album 30 in just one night during her CBS television special. Mel Gibson is stepping behind the camera once again. This time he'll be directing the latest installment of the Warner Brothers action franchise, Lethal Weapon. Robert Jordan's fantasy book series, The Wheel of Time, comes to the small screen in a new television drama with Oscar nominee Rosamund Pike at the helm. Today marks 20 years since the release of the film Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, also known as Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, that was released on this day. And members of a union that represents about 60,000 behind-the-scenes workers in US film and television have narrowly approved a new contract with producers. The International Alliance of Theatrical Stage Employees said in a statement its members voted to ratify a new 3-year contract that was tentatively agreed last month. So that's it in this edition of Express News. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, with the top 100 news of the day. So until we meet again, you take very good care of yourself. Namaskar.